Caution, the show you are about to listen to is rated explicit. If your ears are sensitive to the F word, please don't listen to this podcast. If not, get ready to get kicked in the ass.
Do you have everything? Are you comfortable where you are in your life right now? Well, maybe a little too comfortable. We think you're ready for this serious shit. What you really need is a good kick in the ass. Welcome to The Momo Show, starring Momo from the Momo Zone and controversial radio personality, Eric Remy.
Hi everybody, welcome to show number 2 of The Momo Show. This podcast was taped on Wednesday, the 19th of August, 2009.
Subjects covered on The Momo Show will include, but will not be limited to, when to stop debating. So, you want to be blunt. Building your shit. And stop telling me what you did with your girl last night.
What the fuck are you talking about?
This is Eric Remy. I'm the lucky host of this new series of show called The Momo Show, aka the Kick-Ass Motivator, now offered around the world in audio podcasts on iTunes. Please keep an open mind while listening to The Momo Show if you want to feel the full benefits of being kicked in the ass by YouTube's number one kick-ass motivator himself, Momo. Hi, Momo. How was your week?
Great, Eric. I got to tell you, it's also good to hear that this week you called me the kick-ass motivator and not the ass motivator.
Yeah. You know what? I was so nervous for our first show. I've listened to that podcast so many times, and I said, I cannot forget that word.
No, but that was a priceless moment, and priceless moments live forever on cards. So...
Well, okay. So, how was your week?
Man, my week was crazy. Oh my God. We did a whole lot of photo shooting. There was some politics involved. Krila got to shoot. We won't mention any names, but a known fashion magazine here in Quebec. 20 people topless, like frontal nudes of known personalities. Very sensitive subject. All the guys had to be barred from downstairs.
It was for breast cancer, huh?
It was for a breast cancer thing, which is great, So all these people, they come in and, okay, they agree and then they don't agree and then they see themselves and they freak out and they're so happy they did and they go home and their husband or their manager or something says, are you really doing the right thing? And then they back out. So it's...
Nudity is still, a sensitive subject.
Yeah, it's a sensitive subject, but it's breast cancer. And, when you see a powerful woman that is out there expressing herself in a way, and let us remember, Krila is not shooting some kind of nudie porno shit.
No.
This is some like Helmut Newton kind of like really amazing photography stuff. It's art, and these women look beautiful and standing for a great cause.
So you were banned from downstairs?
I was banned from downstairs. I could go downstairs between the shots and go eat food and stuff. There's always great food down there.
So you had a boob week.
Oh, yeah, boob. There was boobs. Actually, I like to say 40 girls. No, there was 20 girls, that's 40 boobies.
Yes.
And 40 nippies. So
you're good in mathematics. Let's put the show in high gear.
You are listening to The Momo Show, and this is
In Your Face.
This segment called In Your Face is made to discuss serious subject in a positive, no bullshit way. In your face. First topic, Momo.
when to stop debating.
when to stop debating, Eric. There's a lot of people out there that believe that a standard conversation needs to be turned into a debate. And it's a conversation that, never kind of ends. So, sometimes when you have a conversation with somebody, it's like ping pong. You bounce back and forth. But some people need to pull the comparison back and forth. So if I say something to you, and then you turn around and say, oh yeah, and I did something like this. And then it goes back and forth, and then the whole thing turns into a fucking debate. And it's like, where does it end?
It's a fight of the mind.
Yeah, it's a fight of the mind. In the beginning of my relationship with Krila comes from a very intellectual family. Her father's a poet, her mother's a teacher, they're writers, and everything is very, eloquent in the words and et cetera, et cetera. So, I used to talk to her and then she always needed to expand on stuff, but it was always a kind of an expansion that went into debate land. And I can't stand that. It's like the over-intellectual, I know it all.
You know what? It's like a cake. More icing on the top, more icing. It's still, it gives you like...
Yeah, and at some point, you have to say when. I'd rather have just a good conversation, get to the point, some fresh bouncing back and forth, couple of comparisons, and then let's come to a conclusion to this thing and create something or say goodnight.
Why make it a match of mind?
Because that's what it is. Some people need to debate. A lot of that debate comes out of insecurity. They need
complex,
and they want to feel like maybe, This is my superiority. Superior. Oh my God, I can't say that. Can you say that for a French guy?
Superiority.
Superiority.
Did it?
I don't know. They need to show that, and it somehow must make them feel like they're superior. But a lot of times, a lot of people who do that are the people who lack those communication skills. And they get lost, and often I find, very lonely and alone. And shit, man, imagine two debaters getting together in a room and never stopping. Fuck, you might as well put on your suit and go to war,
French are like that.
That's it. Look,
My father's French.
French from France?
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't want to say anything, against anybody, but you are 100% right. The French from
They
France.
like it. It's like a national sport.
It's like food. It's part of debating, and they like to say stuff. Alors, c'est de la merde, quoi. Non, c'est de la merde. C'est naze. C'est plouc. Ça ne marche pas, ça. C'est de la merde. But the thing is in their case, you can't take it too seriously.
But it's cultural.
It's part of the culture. And I think English people from England, to a certain degree, when they're holding their teacup.
Yes, that little pinky there.
That little pinky thing, they are also pretty righteous when it comes to debating and whatnot. That's okay. It's part of their culture. We ain't insulting anybody, but it's a fact. You guys do that. There's nothing we can do to stop it, and we love you that way.
Next topic.
So, you want to be blunt.
It goes with the flow. It's same kind of thing. No?
Same kind of thing. Blunt people, okay, I got a lot of letters from people that are saying, how come I tell people what I think and they don't seem to understand me, and I'm losing my friends and we don't get along and they're not getting it? Is it because I'm blunt, but I'm just telling them what I think?
Depends on how you say it, no?
How you say it, exactly. So, I think that there is a certain rules of ethics of when you meet people, and depending on how long you know them, gives you the parameter to say, okay, I have this much liberty, I have this much liberty. I've canned people completely because they always need to stick their finger in the pie by being blunt at the wrong time and the wrong place. Blunt also works. It's not a negative thing.
You know what? I lack bluntness at one point. I was too diplomatic. And at the end, it goes around, it's the reverse reaction you want,
Being blunt in the right way, I believe, is just being honest and not letting your emotions get in the way. So sometimes people are nice and they don't want to hurt people's feelings. So they sacrifice something they'd really like to say. And, they let it happen. And if it happens one too many times, then they wonder why they don't get along with the person and they can't stand that person anymore. It's because they've been holding that stuff in. So,
or they flip.
They flip out. So being blunt also could mean just say what you think right now. Like, don't wait. Don't beat around the bush. If you don't like something, then tell that person right away, no, I don't like it. But if you go, nah, that thing sucks. Or, hey, what do you think if we tried maybe something like this? Let's give that a try and see and compare.
It's okay to be blunt, but you have also to use the right word at the right time with the right person.
Yeah, and you have to leave options open because people want to feel like they're part of something, right? And if people can't feel like they're part of that team, whether it's a 2-man conversation or a 10-man conversation, then they're left out. What are they going to do?
Be blunt, but be wise.
Be blunt, be wise. Tell people what you think. Take care of people's feelings, look at the situation. Blunt people, if you don't be blunt at the right time, you're going to get the plug pulled on your ass.
Next topic.
Building your shit.
What do you mean by shit?
I just like to call everything shit.
And fuck.
Fuck, shit. Like it's good shit. There's different kinds of shit. The kind of shit that goes down the bowl and the kind of shit that you own, create, and build. What do people do on a normal basis? So unless you have an idea and you're inspired about what it is you want to really build, you're doing what everybody else does. You have your 9-to-5 job, you're doing your thing, you're coming back, you go out with your friends, you have your drink, you live, you wait for your 2 vacations a year, and you do your thing. That's not good enough for me. I'm radical. So I believe that people need to take all their available time, instead of drinking with their friends and that much. So if you do it 4 times a week, do it once. And those other 3 days, guess what? You build your shit.
So you work on something?
You work on something. Everybody needs to improve themselves. I'm pushing 50. Something's flipped in my head. I look around and I see people, what do they have? They have fucking shit. Who told you and I to do this radio show? Nobody.
No.
We're doing this on our own, right?
We just had that crazy idea.
So we committed to something, and this is part of building your shit. But you think other people can't do this?
Well, for sure.
They're not going to be as good as us, but it doesn't got.
I was not expecting that answer, but anyway,
that's a good one. But it doesn't got to be radio. It could be anything. Let's say you love sewing, okay? and you always wish you made your own line of clothes, of t-shirts. Let's say you're a craft person and you wanted to sell these fancy cool earrings you make and stuff. Why the fuck aren't you doing that shit? If I take away 8 hours of useless time that you use a week, you won't even know the difference. You'll still have those free 8 hours sitting there. But if you took those free 8 hours and you built your earrings or you built your earmuffs or whatever the fuck it is you're trying to build, guess what's going to happen at the end of the month? 4 times 8, 32. You spent 32 hours on building your shit. And do you know how much shit I can build in 32 hours?
Well, that's much too much time for you.
Well, there you go.
So this way, when one door closes, you already have another one open.
That's right, because you're always reinventing yourself. You're always building stuff that no one told you to do, but stuff that you love.
Or learn a language, learn something new.
What the fuck are these guys doing? Most people are not doing that. I don't care what anybody tells me. They're not. Because they've got too many problems. I got some friends out there that got so much talent. They got money, they got talent, they got all that stuff. Holy fuck, dude. Ask them to do something for you to help them. I can give it to them. They won't even do it. They don't show up on time. They don't do shit. You're the only guy I have met in a very long time who fucking delivers and shows up. You fucking show up here with all the goods and you make it happen.
It's discipline.
Discipline and building your shit goes hand in hand, because unless you're disciplined, you will never build your shit.
The last topic.
Stop telling me what you did with your girl last night.
Who does that?
Dude, I don't know how many people out there have experienced something like this. This happened to me about 10, 15 times in my life.
You
right?
mean sexual details?
I got a friend of mine or somebody that's, a partly friend of mine, let's say an acquaintance, comes up to me and I know him and his girlfriend and stuff. And he'll come right to me. He says, dude, man, last night we had the greatest sex. We drank, we got drunk, and I fucked the shit out of her. And then I got to see this person, and I kiss him on the cheek.
And he gives you details and everything.
Dude, it's disgusting. You think I want to kiss the girlfriend thinking that maybe this guy shot his wad all over her cheek a couple of minutes ago? Ooh. And then I'm kissing her hello. I mean, all of a sudden it's not working out. You know what I mean?
So your way of looking at that person changes radically after that.
The thing is I don't understand why they do that, because A, it's complete loss of respect.
Of course.
I think it's got to be some kind of thing where maybe these are people that maybe never had that much sex in their life, and they're so thrilled that they need to share it with people in order to make them feel good.
Or they're big mouth and actually they don't really have that sex.
Maybe. That's possible. I would imagine that women probably talk about stuff like this all the time, but we're not always privy to that. But guys, there's dirty guys. They stand on the street corner and they look at that ass, look at that chick. And okay, that's one thing. But when they come and they tell you details about their girlfriend, that's sick. It's the lack of respect. I have never said one single thing to anybody. I mean, dude, do you go around telling people what you do with your girl?
Never. It's so disrespectful. It's intimacy. Do you want me to tell you what I do with my wife?
Fuck no, dude. You know my wife. I mean, what am I going to do? Oh, Eric, dude, you should see what I did with Creel last night. I mean,
of course.
That's fucking retarded. And then you're going to go fucking say hello.
But these are immature men.
Guys.
Or girl, if you do it.
Don't do what you don't want done to yourself. And sex is one of the most private, intimate, and as close as you can get to a single person. Fucking respect that for the dear Lord.
Don't pull trash in there.
There you go. So guys, be nice and don't talk about what you do with your girlfriend. Imagine if she's running around telling their girlfriends what she does with you.
That little dick you have in the pants.
That's right.
If you would like to submit topics to be discussed in this portion of In Your Face, that goes with the subject, no? Please write us to momo@themomozone.com.
I think you're ready. You're ready for the serious shit.
The letters that Momo will use in this segment of This Is Serious Shit are taken from his momozone.com email fan base. If you would like Momo to choose your email to be answered on the air, please specify it and write to momo@themomozone.com. Our first letter is this one.
Hey Momo, my name is Will and I'm 21. First, I'd just like to say that I've been watching your videos for a while now, and I think what you're doing for people is great, and I know I have gained some awesome skills and tips from watching them. I know you probably hear this kind of stuff a lot, but I guess you can never get too many compliments. I'm a really, really shy guy. All my friends say I shouldn't have a problem getting a girl, but therein lies my problem. Even with this added encouragement from my friends, I can't even bring myself to approach a girl. As soon as I think of approaching a girl, I start to put myself down in my head. It hasn't always been this way. I've never told anyone about this, but I'm extremely self-conscious. I have huge problems with eye contact, body language, and probably most importantly, self-esteem. The more time passes, the worse these problems become. So here's my question. We have all heard the trick to public speaking is to imagine the audience naked. But I was wondering if you know or can think of any other tricks like this for approaching girls. P.S. I looked up your music. Fucking awesome. Rock on.
I'm waiting for your answer. I want to see if there's a trick when you're very shy like Will is to, overcome that.
Well, the trick about picturing yourself naked is actually really cool. I've heard that. I've got a trick that I do that is a lot more radical than that. You know what that is, Eric?
Tell me, I want to hear it.
My trick is I picture that if I don't deliver, I'm going to die. And that's not an option.
I have that too.
You do that?
Yeah. I'm always on the side of the cliff.
It pushes you to the next level. You know what I mean? Naked is nothing. Naked is like we've all got those nakedness underneath the shirt. So some things are bigger, some things are smaller. But dying is not an option.
Yeah, but he's imagining, and I know that trick, when you're in front of, 100 people or 200, you imagine them naked so you feel empowered. And then, you have all that nervousness. You don't have it.
Public speaking for me, going in raw like that, the first thing I'd like to do is I just need my starting word. For instance, when I went to speak at that university in Toronto not long ago, I had to speak for like an hour and a half. And boy, I had nothing to say. So the professor says, what are you going to say to these guys? I say, dude, all I have is my opening line. And the only thing I can think of was, I'm going to go to the board and I'm going to write Momo from the Momo Zone. And then I'm going to turn around to the whole class and I'm going to say, can you guys please repeat this? And then the whole class said, Momo from the Momo Zone. And then I just looked at these guys and said, damn, I've always wanted to do that.
You grab them by the balls right there.
That's right. You also grab yourself by the balls. What happens is when you shock your own ass, you've got to deliver. And you got parameters where if I do this, I'll look stupid. If I look this, I'll do cool. Only talk about what you really do understand and don't try and dive into subjects that you don't. You know what I mean?
This is when you're, talking in front of a large crowd. But like Will, if he wants to, get acquainted with a girl or...
Being yourself, to me, has always been the best thing. Like, if you're shy, then tell them you're shy. I believe in honesty is the best policy. I'll always remember, I'm going to tell you something I've never even told Krila.
Your mother.
No, this is actually pretty crazy. But I remember I was 17 and I was living in Toronto and there was this girl. She was Miss Portugal, beautiful girl. And she absolutely wanted me. But the thing is I was terrified. And I knew that, my God, how am I going to approach this girl? Anyway, she invited me to...
She wanted you.
She wanted me. She invited me to her house, okay? We go up to her room, and I shit you not, she takes off all her clothes, and I look at her, and I say, damn, I'm really sorry. I don't think I can do anything with you.
You froze right there.
I froze right there. But you know what my answer was? I looked at her and I said, I don't want you to think I'm a wimp, but I really do need to know a person better before my private parts are going to respond, because it's not about sex to me. It's a mind thing. And I need to know that I feel good and comfortable around you. And then I will be the craziest madman you've ever seen.
How did she react?
Dude, she wanted me even more. She thought that was the coolest thing because she was a pretty girl. Everybody wanted her. And here was a guy that was saying, I'm sorry, I can't do anything unless I get to know you more because this is not about sex. Ultimate respect I got from that move.
So what do you say to Will?
I say, Will, be honest, be straight. If you like a girl, go up to her, find those common elements that you have in common. That's number one.
Yeah, but you have to talk with that girl, to find these common elements.
You could see it from the outside. You can see it. You can tell by the way they dress, maybe by what kind of books they read, what they're hanging out, who they're hanging out with. There's signs that tell you whether they like sports, whether they like music, whether you can start by picking up a couple of basic signs and try and approaching that person on that level. And if not, I'm telling you, honesty is the best policy. I would walk right up to the girl and say, look, I like you, but I got to tell you, I'm terrified because I'm not a very good communicator, and maybe you can help me with that. Honesty to me really works. And guess what? If that person can't understand that, then why the fuck would you want to be with that person anyways? Because that's the kind of person you want to wind up with in the end anyways. Somebody that you can show them anything, tell them anything, and have them not laugh at you and respect you and understand and encourage you for who and what you are.
So just be yourself.
Be yourself, and most of all, be honest, my friend. Go out there and be honest. Try it. You'll see. You won't believe it what happens when you tell a girl the truth. They'll respect you more than anything for that.
Hey Momo, I've watched your videos and they have helped me so much. Recently, my good friend committed suicide. Ever since I heard it happened, it has completely torn me apart, and I am lost without her. I feel angry and I am sad, and I just cannot do anything I used to do. I'm not happy anymore. I'm not eating very much. I'm not skateboarding. I'm not listening to my music anymore because every song reminds me of her. I feel like crap. I was so excited to see her this year in school, but no one understands how devastated I am. She was in love with me, and I was in love with her. By the way, I am a girl. I remember her telling me how much I helped her through all her problems in her life. Please, help me. I am lost. I am not the same girl I used to be. I was so bright and bubbly and happy, but feel as if I cannot go on with my life. I feel trapped in the darkness and left behind. I would appreciate it greatly if you could message me back or anything.
This is serious shit.
Oof. Very, very serious shit, Eric. My heart goes out to this person. And let me tell you, it's very complicated. Death, unfortunately, is looked at in many different ways. In different cultures, there's different ways of looking at it. You know, like if you look at maybe an Indian culture, some of those older cultures, they didn't look at death as this big mourning, sad, like...
No, actually, it's pretty, you say colorful.
Colorful, peaceful. Some people celebrate, some people don't celebrate. This is a big shock that has come to you. The mourning is necessary, but after the mourning should come the flip around syndrome. And what that means... You got to be happy. Why? Because that's what the person wants you to be. You do not think for 1 second that this person died and wants you to be miserable for the rest of your life.
It's normal to be sad, though.
It's normal to be sad. But Eric, I'm going to tell you a little story that really affected me. My father died when I was 15. And I will always remember the look in my mother's eyes when the doctor came and handed her this envelope that had his wedding ring and his chains and his stuff in it. And the look on her face was so devastating. And I looked at her and I said, damn, why did he have to die so young? And she looked at me and she said, because he did that because that's what it took for you to become a man. If he wouldn't have died, I would have been dead.
Why?
I was with the wrong crowd. I was with the wrong people at that time when I was very young.
You were doing the wrong things?
I was doing the wrong things, hanging out with the wrong people. So my parents sent me, my mother sent me to my aunt's house in Toronto. I changed my life, and when I got back, all my friends that I were hanging out with were dead or fucked up.
Or in prison.
In prison. So, you know, it was really something. And I got to tell you, it really taught me a big lesson. And then the other big lesson was when my best friend died. I couldn't believe it. You know what we did? We got together in a house with about 200 kids, and we had the party of the century. We were dancing, laughing, thinking about him, talking stories about him, and that changed my life. He was going to be a race car driver.
How did he die?
Something just exploded in his head. It was disgusting. We didn't know. The only way they found him is because he didn't show up to work, and when they went to his apartment, it smelled so bad. Outside the apartment, he had been dead for like 4 days already. So you know what I did? I went out and I got a giant flag, about 50 Roman candles, and I busted into the graveyard in the middle of the night, and I put them all around there, and I lit up the graveyard. And man, after we blew that stuff, I heard the sound of peeling race car tires go by. And I knew right there that he had seen this. You got to believe in that stuff. There's no way she wants you to be miserable. So try and find the magic, the good parts, the good moments, and celebrate her life that she had and not the fact that you're going to make yourself miserable. I mean, what do you think, Eric?
You remind me of a friend of mine who died. He was 23 years old. He died in a motorcycle accident. And you know what I did? I bought a kite. I went at the cemetery and I flew that kite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where he was buried. I just let go that cord, you know, that was hanging from the kite. And it just
flew away. That's beautiful.
We should celebrate life, but also death for what these people gave us. And I had almost a brother of mine who died at 39 years old of a lung cancer. In 3 months, he was gone. You know what? Every time I think of him, I cannot be sad. He was such a monkey. He was so funny. And this is what you have to remind yourself of. These good moments.
Very important, because if you don't, you're going to live in misery, and believe you me, that's not what they want, and that's not what you want or need.
And you could die of it. You could die of sadness.
Of a broken heart.
Yeah.
That's why, girl, go out there, smile at all the great times you had together, and I'm telling you, use her energy. One more thing. I remember one time I had to ask a life question that was going to change my destiny in my life. And I went to my father's grave and I asked the question. So I go, da-da-da-da-da, yes, da-da-da-da-da, no. Give me a sign, which one? Dude, I shit you not. At the second that I said no, a chestnut from the top of a tree fell and hit me on the fucking head. I still have that chestnut because I kept it, and I followed that advice. If I would have not followed that advice, you and I would not be sitting here today.
It's funny that you say that anecdote, because I've lived exactly the same thing with my mother's grave.
Oh my God, this is why we get along,
Yeah,
dude.
that's it. Wow.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Tell me that story. Let me hear that.
I was desperate, okay? My girlfriend had let me down. I was living in Sherbrooke then. I was program director of a TV channel. So I had the big job. I was 27 years old. I had everything. And from one day to the other, I didn't have nothing. When I came back in my apartment, there was nothing. So I go at the grave of my mother. My mother died, I was 10 years old. She was 30 years old. I go in the snow. I kneel down. I have my knees frozen, and I say, you know what? You're going to do something for me. Or you're going to give me everything, or you're going to take out everything, but you have to do something. I go from the graveside of my mother to my apartment. When I arrive, there's nothing left, That girl is gone. And on my mailbox, voice mailbox, it was the machine then,
Yeah.
there was that message of someone offering me a show 5 nights a week. From that moment on, that made me what I am today.
Oh,
because it just gave me that push that I needed. Otherwise, I would have lost everything. And I was like 3 months late on my car. I had not paid my apartment. I mean, I was in deep shit. And I had that sign right there, like you did with your father.
Dude, my God, I'm getting total fucking goosebumps. I'm not shitting you. It's beautiful. We got to remember that when people go, whether we want to believe in this kind of communication or not, it's powerful enough that we can use that in such a beautiful way, because it was all based in love on the first place. So it has to be good,
And it's energy. Use it.
Hi, Momo. I've been watching your videos on YouTube for a while now, and I thought you would be the right person to help me. So here's my story. My parents got divorced when I was 3 years old. I stayed with my dad until kindergarten, and then I moved in with my mom, who lived an hour and a half away from my dad. Ever since I moved away from my dad, I barely see him. On average, twice a year since I am 6 years old. Now I am 18 and I am living on my own in my apartment. I have always been a very sensible, emotional person. But these days, I'm wondering why I start having tears in my eyes over nothing at all. I have recently discovered that when someone questions me or talks to me about my dad, I always end up crying, even if I try really hard not to. My boyfriend is trying to help me, and he told me that I must communicate with my dad more often. Do you think this will help my problem and my relationship with him? Why am I so emotional? I don't do it on purpose, and I don't like to start crying for nothing. I am now studying in social services, and I do not want to be in tears all the time. What can I do to control my feelings? I am desperate. I'm not asking you to make me a video or anything. Just a simple reply to this letter will do. Thank you very much. You are such a good person. I look up to you, and that is honest. Please keep my story anonymous.
That letter goes with the subject we just had.
Oof. Eric, when I hear letters like this and the look up to you stuff, and I've never had any kids but I can't tell you the kind of feeling that shit gives me, man. It just makes me want to fucking cry. Oof.
Well, this is legacy. It's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to have these feelings, especially if you have lost someone that you've loved, especially a parent.
Well, the problem here is that the parent is apparently still alive, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes people feel death even though the person is not gone.
How come she thinks of her father this way with all these emotions?
I think how it goes is when you have kids, the woman is normally attached to the father and the son is usually attached to the mother, right?
Yeah.
So this is unfinished business for starters. Who is her father figure? And I think that a woman who grows up, not having a father at such a young age needs that kind of father figure, and she's searching for him. He's alive. I think what her boyfriend is saying to her is correct. She needs to get more involved.
If she wanted to settle that problem or that emotion she has inside, of course.
I'll tell you a little story. Karila, her parents were separated at a young age. And Karila really didn't get to see her father for quite a long time. But when we did the French record, she got together with him, because he's a brilliant poet and writer, to co-write and check stuff with him. And I remember saying, damn, that is so cool. You must feel so cool after all these years to get together and find a common element that you can work with. And you know that they have become great friends. What a beautiful thing. But she waited many, many, many years down the line before she was able to do that.
Could be fixable, and sometimes it's not fixable.
But you got to try, Eric.
Yeah, true.
You have to try. So at some points, you got to go in there and say, even if you have to sit down with him and say, look, I'm hurting inside. I need to come to some kind of settlement. We need to come with some kind of wrap up. You know what I mean? So that I know who I am and where I stand. And then you can
take your decision.
And you move on.
Hey, Momo. My name is Lucas. I'm 23. I live in Brazil. Nice to meet you. First, let me tell you how great I think your videos are and how amazing I find that you get some of your time to do what you do, and you do it very well. Second, I stumbled across one of your videos a long time ago, and it helped me get up and move on like no one else did, and that's saying something. Well, as soon as I started to watch your video on Andrew's family issues, I thought, Andrew, my heart goes out to you. I understand close relatives with drinking problems and divorced parents. Very painful process before you hit puberty. I immediately started to think how amazing it'd be to get a video done by the master on having trouble to accept criticism. Recently, I've lost a friendship to this. I get mad and feel personally insulted with some kinds of criticism. Most kinds. I know I need to change that to grow up healthily. Don't you agree? I find it difficult not to take criticism personally sometimes, and I'd like to learn to be cool, take the criticism, filter it, and take in the good stuff. Any comments on that? Have a great week.
Well, Lucas, Momo's gonna give you a audio answer, not a video answer.
Hell yeah. Lucas, my friend, constructive criticism. That's how you have to look at it. It's a fine line between criticism and constructive criticism. Some people can take it, other people cannot. It also depends who's delivering it and how they deliver it.
It seems like closer the person who criticizes us is, sometimes it even touches us even more,
Oh, exactly. So, I mean, let's say if your wife criticizes you or your daughter or your best friend or something.
Parents.
Your parents. So you take that because they're supposed to be the ones that support you on your ideas, la, la, la. But taking criticism is an art. If you're getting criticism from the right person, you should listen and you should take it to heart. And at some points, you need to be able to filter in and out what you consider is good for you and what is not.
It's not always easy to do it.
No, especially at that age, too, because they're getting molded, right?
Any age.
You know what? I love criticism. As long as it's the right criticism, I always listen to it. If it's some yo-ho who has no fucking idea what he's talking about, he's just flapping his beak, then you just pipe him down. And you say, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, if it's your father, like my father is a very critic person. I love him dearly. I love him so much. But sometimes he criticizes me and I feel it for weeks, man. Really.
Even today?
Even today.
I don't know. I guess maybe I've become, like I said, I've built up that wall of being able to cut people off and shit like that. And for me, it's a protective device. It's not an avoiding device. It's a protecting device that enables me to stay focused without letting too much shit fucking get into my head so that I can't do what I want to do. So if I let criticism take me over, everybody's, there's an old saying, everybody's got an opinion, like everybody's got an asshole. Originality comes from making your own decisions, and your own decisions can only be made through tons of information that you have ingested, and that is going to be part of the criticisms that you have gotten.
So the art is to delete the thing that don't fit with you, or you don't want to have in you.
Yeah, and also have a barrier that decides what kind of criticism you're prepared to take. So if somebody is telling you something that you can't stand and it's not true, then cut them off and move on to the next subject. But otherwise, I mean, criticism is great. I mean, how else are you going to become how you're going to come better. But it's got to be constructive criticism and not criticism for the sake of it. Because there's a lot of people out there, like I said, that falls into the blunt category we were talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes people can mistake that. You know, the guy's being blunt. He's telling you what he thinks. To him, it's totally normal. But to the other guys, what the fuck? You just criticized the shit out of me. Again, communication is key.
Criticism could be like making a sculpture. It could make you.
Yeah, Eric. I mean, you don't know who you are. You think when you're born and you're a fetus, you know exactly what you're going to look like. It takes time to grow and shape. And even no matter how you look like, you're capable of changing your complete look.
And use these criticism, positive criticism, to be a better person.
You got to accept constructive criticism and know when the other criticism is not the right stuff for you.
Hey Momo, my name is David and I'm 20 years old. All through my life, I've always had one or two good friends, and that's all I need. I don't want to be popular, don't want to be rich, I just want to be happy and comfortable and confident with who I am. For the past few weeks, I've been trying to change myself, but I have realized that is not what I want. I don't want to change myself. I want to be happy with how I am now. The thing holding me back from that is self-confidence. I know you've done a video on this and it did help, but I still feel I need that extra something to get me going. Whenever there is something I want to do, anything, as simple as going to the kitchen for a drink, going to the shop, talking to a friend, family member, anything, the first thing I think of is, what will blank think? What will blank be thinking if I do that? What will blank's reaction be if I give my opinion? I care too much about what people think, and it's ruining my life. I'm currently in college studying a subject I love. I don't drink or smoke, and I don't like the atmosphere of clubs and busy places. I don't care about that. I spend a lot of my free time surfing the internet and talking to friends online and playing video games. Why? Because that's what I love to do. So doing stuff that I love, what's the problem? The problem is what other people think about the stuff I love. I want to make videos on YouTube, but I can't in case someone I know sees them and confronts me. Do you have any advice for me? I care too much what other people think and it's ruining me. Please help.
Too self-conscious. It ruins a life when you always think of what the other thinks of you.
Oof. O-O-O-F-F-F till infinity, my friend. You're right. That shit can ruin your life. Well, you know, first of all, let me just get right to the YouTube video part. You know, there's a lot of people out there who are afraid to be seen. So, look, let's say you want to speak and you got words, but you're afraid to be seen. Damn, put a mask on. You know how many people out there on YouTube play these like characters where there's the guy with the bag on his head.
Or make a radio show like we do.
Exactly. And, you know, but you can put a mask on. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can blur your face out. But you know what? The bottom line is it's something you want to do. So you got to go out and you got to fucking do that. All it takes for a guy to feel that result is to do it once. And if you feel good and you're going to get some great response, then it's going to be all the fuel you need. As for what people think, damn, I don't give a fuck what people think.
And you know what, David? Listen to me. People don't think of you that much.
It's exactly it. We think that people think more about us than they really do think.
They have other things to do.
That's right, because we're mirroring paranoia. It might even be increasing it by projecting that kind of stuff. So what? Again, it's like the last conversation we just had. Fuck, growing up, you think people wanted me to be a rock star or wanted me to play music? They told me every reason I couldn't do.
Well, that gives you the determination to do it, no?
I love doing everything that everybody tells me I can. You know why? Because that's all the greatest stuff. You think that any great invention in the entire world or any great record that has ever been out there has not been rejected and said, what the fuck is this shit? It sucks. Get it out of here. It's not going to work. Everything that has ever made it on this planet is based on rejection. And that's called originality. That's how you create shit.
Use that power.
Man, I'm listening to you talk and stuff and you write real well. You know, you got that mood, you got that mode. Dude, use it. Go out there. Make a video. Fuck, send me a video. Send me a personal video. You rock, dude.
If you would like Momo to choose your email to be answered on the air, please specify it in your letter and write to momo@themomozone.com.
You are listening to The Momo Show, and welcome.
Well, every week in The Momo Show, we take time to talk about a world wild website, and the one that Momo has found this week is hatsofmeat.com. Let me just put this in perspective, listen to this.
It's about as simple as can be. You cut a flank steak using the bill of the cap as your outline, then fit the flank onto the brim. Using the helmet of the cap as a mold, form the ground beef, preferably lean, around the crown. And this is your finished product. I'm really proud of this one.
A baseball cap. So you make a hat out of meat. And this is not the only type of hat you can find on hats of meat.
Dude, I was on the net. Actually, it was Krila that hooked us up with this. And hatsofmeat.com. And Steve Bean Levy, the guy who...
The founder.
The founder of this thing. And I'm looking at this site and I'm saying, damn, this is some original shit if I've ever seen it. And there it is.
And not only you have that baseball cap, but you also have the pork pie made of Louisiana pork. There's a cold weather cap made of Canadian bacon with chin strap of sausage links, cowboy hats made of marbleized cuts of beef, and even for Jewish people, the brisket. Tell me how you
It's a yarmulke, dude.
Yarmulke.
Or a kippah. You could call it a kippah too, but a yarmulke. And that's the thing that really got to me right there.
It's made of 100% kosher brisket and decorated of horseradish, Star of David. The founder of this weird meaty website is Steve Bean Levy. He's directly from Los Angeles. We have it on Skype. Hi, Steve.
Hello, Eric. Hello, Momo. How are you guys doing today?
Great, dude.
Are you serious? You like wearing these kind of hats?
I am as serious as a fucking tummy ache, my friend. This is no joke.
This is amazing. You know, I was talking to him yesterday for a while on Skype, and I got to know him better. And let me tell you, he is not only passionate and serious, but he's got quite an original idea over there. They're calling on Skype from everywhere. Hang on.
Since you're online, everybody's calling you
That's
now.
what they're all going to call. So I go to Krila, hey, why don't we get Christina, who's a beautiful girl, to pose with one of these hats of meat? And then Krila looks at me and says, are you crazy? She's a born die-hard vegetarian, right? and she said, if you go down there and you do that, she's not gonna love you the same anymore. And then I thought about it and I said, fuck, what a great concept. Let's see how many vegetarians we could convince to wear one of these hats of meat.
Let me just ask, Stephen, are you vegetarian?
No, I am not a vegetarian, but I do want to say this. We are actually very popular with vegetarians and vegans because of what goes back to an old slogan of ours, which is this: don't eat meat, wear it on your head. So if you're wearing meat on your head, you say, hey man, this is where it belongs, not in my tummy, it belongs on my cranium.
And there's another slogan on your homepage. It says, remembering the past, cherishing the present, and celebrating the future of meat hats.
That is our mission statement. And I want to tell you just one of my other favorite quotes, and this comes from Mark Twain, who was one of the original meat hat makers and wearers. Mark Twain said, one always looks neat in a hat made from meat. And that holds true today.
So it's the real thing. People wear this?
You know, I travel all over the world promoting this exciting form of alternative haberdashery. Everywhere I go, I see that people are wearing hats of meat, but nobody is doing a website. So I start the website. We do not have to wear meat hats in our closet. We can wear them out in public, and in many places they do.
Dude, I just got inspired. You know, because Krilla's a vegetarian, but boy, let me tell you, we get this meat that is like this fake meat made of tofu. You know, you got like salami, bacon, all this stuff. Dude, you can be making some veggie meat hats.
You know, I have a couple of hats that are made out of tofu, and the two most popular, I have a tofez, which is a fez made out of tofu.
Nice.
And I have a tofu dora, which is a fedora made of tofu. And those are, I don't want to go dropping names, but my good friend Sir Paul McCartney, as you know, an enthusiastic vegan, he prefers to wear the tofez. That's his thing, you know.
That's amazing.
He's telling me that all around the world there are people wearing these hats. I'm sorry, I've never seen anybody wearing otherwise on hatsofmeat.com.
Well, I want to tell you, unfortunately, in a lot of countries, there are people who cannot afford meat hats. And that is why I'm involved in a lot of charitable work to bring meat hats to the children and often women who can't afford to make them and to wear them. In many countries, believe it or not, it's like the Dark Ages. It is still illegal to wear a meat hat out in public.
Do you wear them every day sometimes? I mean, do you go work with your hats of meat?
Do I? You know what? No. I do not ordinarily wear my hat of meat to work. Obviously I wear a brisket yarmulke when I go to synagogue. Obviously, if I go to
Could you wear bacon on your head since you're Jewish?
Dude.
Probably not.
A bacon wrap. That's what we need, is a bacon yarmulke. I could see the rabbis popping a gasket right now.
What we do have, and this is very popular now because 50% of all Jews who marry, they marry now non-Jews. Mm-hmm. And that is why we have designed and are marketing a hamaka, which is a yarmulke made of ham. And this is specifically for interfaith couples.
Dude, that's nice. We need one of those over here.
Not only you can find hats of meat, you could also find meat dress, bacon scarf, and even a pork princess tiara.
This is true. And a lot of this comes from New Zealand. In New Zealand, I don't know if you know this, but there are more sheep than there are people. Mm-hmm. In New Zealand, there's so much excess meat that not only are people wearing it as clothing, but the houses are made of meat. The streets are paved with meat. I've been there. I am not shitting you.
Dude, you're totally serious about this, right?
You know, it's like I said before. I am as serious as a hangnail, man. This is not a joke.
Steve, what kind of cut of meat is the sexiest for you?
You know what? Sexy to me is in the eyes and is in the way we carry our body. So we can wear any hat of meat and be sexy. Traditionally, I would say probably goat testicles. A goat testicle crown, for instance, is believed to make men more virile.
Yeah.
Virile.
Yeah, believed to make women more fertile. So this is the hat that would traditionally be associated with sexuality. But you know something? As long as we have a penis or a vagina and a hat of meat, you know, we are sexy if that's the way we see ourselves.
How many hats do you have at home?
It's so hard to keep track. We have a freezer. I have a refrigerated storage facility, and I would say there are probably hundreds of hats there. You know, if I don't keep them refrigerated, they're not going to be preserved properly, unless I have a hat that is made of jerky.
Oh, but that's true. That's preserved. That shit works.
Yeah, because you don't have to put that in the fridge. You just put it in the closet next to your baseball caps.
Have you ever made any other kind of, say, undergarments, like for women, like say maybe a meat bra or a meat pair of panties, a meat thong? That would be like retarded. A meat thong.
Yeah,
made out of a tongue.
We are a special interest business, and I do not step on the feet of those who have devoted their lives to meat lingerie the way that I have devoted my life to
it exists.
Meat haberdashery is my thing. I don't make the bras, I don't make the underpants, but obviously lots of people are wearing them. When I look at meat, it's like a seamstress looking at fabric. I think for a moment, how is it going to taste? But what I'm really thinking is, how is it going to look? How can I fashion this into a hat that people are going to want to wear? A hat that people are going to want to see, especially in places like, you know, Russia, Afghanistan, where people are not allowed to wear them publicly. They will. You can't hold them down forever.
How much time can you keep a hat of meat?
You know what? As long as I keep it properly refrigerated, I could keep it, indefinitely.
You got to be frozen, like frozen, or?
There's sort of an optimum temperature. Frozen is fine, but bear in mind that then when you put it on your head, it's going to be really fucking cold.
That's it.
So you want to probably heat it up a little bit in the microwave before you put it on and go out with it.
But then you can, once you wear it and it kind of de-thaws, you can freeze it up again and keep wearing it as long as you don't eat it, right?
And there's a couple of very simple ways to keep your hat of meat fresh when you wear it in public. What I do is I spray mine with a thin yet even coating of Aquanet hairspray. This is everyday hairspray. I work exclusively with Aquanet. Okay. And if you will spray it with a coating of Aquanet, the world's finest hairspray, then you will find that this is preserved, and that also the hairspray, it repels insects and dogs.
And gives it a sheen, maybe, too, right?
Yes, it does.
I can't believe we're talking about this.
Dude, this is amazing information. Where the hell else are you going to find something like this, but with amazing people? Well, you know, I got to tell you, Steve, you are by far one of the most interesting and creative people I have seen in a long time.
Why don't you add bizarre?
This is the problem with a lot of people trying to find their original zone. Like, your average person might look at something like this and say, what the fuck is this guy doing? He might be crazy. But you know what? I don't see crazy in that shit. I actually see a guy who's got a mad idea that pushes it to the limit that can turn out to be one of the biggest kind of self-expression businesses on the planet.
Momo, you need to eat. Your sugar level's too high.
No, I'm fucking serious. I'm totally fucking serious. When I see, because there's madness in this. This guy's a writer also, right? Because he's a writer and
He's a comedy writer, are you?
Yes, I'm a comedy writer.
So he writes comedy, he got thing. It's all kind of connected. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like some guy just woke up in the morning and said, fuck this, I'm going to start wearing meat on my head. This is a connection of part of his work, part of his fantasy, and whether it's surreal in a real world, I think that there's method to this madness and a big future for this approach, you know?
Well,
When you say there's a method to this madness, it's very true. And in fact, I guess it's no secret that is a quote from Shakespeare, and that is from the play Ham Hat, which I don't have to tell you what it's about, but just as a side note, that is where that quote is from. That's from Shakespeare's Ham Hat.
Hamlet too.
Hamlet too, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
give me a Hamlet and 2 eggs. Listen, when I say where's the beef, you think on your head, no?
Yeah, and not only that, but Eric, I want to tell you something.
Oh, that's a good catch, Lord. We should.
Use it. I give it to you.
Mo, you know what I tell people? And Eric, I did a spin on that. Another one of our slogans is "Where the beef."
Listen, Steve, it was nice talking to you. And if you want to see this wild website, go to hatsofmeat.com. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, it was good talking to you too. And if you're going to go to the website, don't forget to send us a picture of your hat, and we'll go ahead and put it up for you.
Dudes, you have been checking out Hats of Meat. You fucking rock. That's what I got to say.
And you heard it on the Momo Show. If you have links of a wild website to suggest us, please write to momo@themomozone.com.
You're listening to The Momo Show, the kick-ass motivator, starring Momo from The Momo Zone and Eric Remy.
I'm still in a state of shock with that guy of hatsofmeat.com. I cannot believe the guy.
Come on, dude, man. It's
Just seeing
normal,
you
dude.
going, like being all enthusiastic of wearing a hat of meat. Momo, I'm a bit worried about yourself.
Somebody's got to do it, dude. And I always respect original people.
Yes.
He's original, dude, and he's original, and he's following through with his idea. It could be anything. It could have been that. What if somebody wanted to open up a pizza parlor? If they had that same energy and that same passion, then they'd have something to work. And that's what turns me on about this guy.
Yeah, he's passionate about his thing.
Yeah.
I always thought it was a joke, but he's for real.
He's for real, people.
Okay, let's finish that show with Momo's last word. How can you top that crazy show we did today?
Let's leave people off with an interesting kind of motivational tidbit, shall I say. And an important thing to me is sharing the love. What does that mean to you, Eric?
Well, it's very important. You have to say to people that you love them.
You think people do that every day?
Actually not.
That's the whole problem. You see, people forget to tell their friends that they love them. Now, let's say if love is too strong of a word. That's okay. Maybe it's a working relationship.
It could be affection.
Could be affection. So why don't they go up and say, you know what, man? I just want to thank you because working with you is just such an honor, and it makes me feel fucking great.
You know what I say? Thank you, Momo, for saying this.
No, but dude, I tell you that shit every day, don't I?
All the time.
And
I.
And you say the same thing to me.
But you know why? I told you about my mother. The last time I saw my mother alive, it was Mother's Day. I was 10 years old, and she had bleached her hair. She was blonde with blue eye.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a state of shock seeing her with white hair. She was only 30 years old, and she was sick. And all the time my mother and my sister were talking to my mother, I was there like a feet away. I wanted all that time to tell her, Mama, I love you. I love you. I love you. And I didn't. And 2 weeks later, she died. What do you think I do since then? I always say to the people I have near me that I like or I love or I have affection that I love them because I don't want to live that trauma again. Because you just never know when that person will not be with you anymore.
You know, I don't know, man. Today on this show, you're starting to really freak me out because we have a parallel life. You know what happened to me? Almost the same kind of thing.
Again?
My father was dying.
Yeah.
And instead of going next to his side in the supposedly final days, but we didn't know when he was going to go, I went and played my first rock and roll show. And why did I do that? Because there was that old saying that say, the show must go on.
My father tells me this all the time.
So I went and I played that show, and then he died, and I wasn't there. So I never got to tell him I love him, just like you. And I will always remember, my God, I never seen a dead body before, you know, and I kicked everybody out of the room, and he was covered with a sheet, and I walked around him for half an hour, and all I saw was his outline, and I never had the guts to look underneath. And I just said everything I needed to say to him, because I heard that after they die, they can hear you for hours, so that's what I did, and it's very similar. We have a very similar kind of thing.
And we're so different at the same time. But you know what? The link is that we have lived these things to tell you today. Please don't wait until it's too late to spread the love around you.
I'm serious, dudes. I'm talking your friends, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever it is. Don't forget those compliments and those little words of encouragement and acknowledgement that the love is there. I can't tell you how fantastic that feels. When I think of you, Eric, it's like, I fucking love you. I tell you, dude, I'm such an honor to be in the room with you working on this, and you give me the same kind of trip.
Well, because I have the same kind of feeling.
And this is amazing. You know, I tell Karila 10 times a day that she's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and 26 years, I'm not going to stop that. You can't get tired or something like that. If you get tired of that, then you shouldn't be with that person anymore. And also, for you bosses out there, all you guys that are running the companies and stuff, that's another thing I've seen. I find that you guys are not making the employees and the stuff necessarily feel like you're up to par. Example, say music stores, very typical. People who go work in music stores are musicians, frustrated musicians. They want to be close to their dreams. Wow, I'm near the guitars, gears, amplifiers, all the best shit in the world, it's all here. And then they fucking treat them like shit. And before you know it, they hate their gear, they hate music, and they're never going to be the same
And
again.
they lose the flame.
So why not encourage these people? Where's the contest? Where's the employee of the fucking week? Where's the initiative?
But if you say to your employee that you love what he does, you know, if you appreciate his work, there's always that 5% raise or...
That ego thing that pops up.
God, I hate that.
Look, life, it's about a balance, okay? There's definitely a big balance about all this stuff, and that's for sure. But in general, your close friends, the people that you're in relationships with, don't forget to tell them you love them or appreciate them, because it'll be like having sunshine in front of you all the time, and it's very important.
Seeds of happiness.
Oh yeah, guys, you will love it. And so will you girls.
That makes it for our show this week, Momo.
Thank you, Eric. This was great. Show number 2, guys.
Same thing here. We give you, of course, rendezvous. Let me say this in French. Rendezvous. Next week for our next Momo Show.
Thank you so much.
If you have appreciated this free podcast of The Momo Show, don't forget to click on the subscribed button located in the iTunes menu of the show. Please take time to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, and why not add your comments? High marks will help us increase our ratings and visibility on iTunes top podcasts, and of course, will entice other podcasters like you to join in. If you need more kick in the ass, don't miss Momo's videos on YouTube at youtube.com/themomozone. If you'd like to drop us a line, feel free to write us to momo@themomozone.com.
On behalf of Momo and the entire crew of themomozone.com, this is Eric Rémy inviting you for the next podcast of The Momo Show. Have yourself a kick-ass week, and thanks for your support.